get a better one? Throw away the cucumbers and get a better one. That sounds like a metaphor for people also, doesn't it? And he's not far off. When the Marcus Aurelius, and so again, he's a Roman emperor, and he's a Stoic philosopher. And I don't know which of these two actually affected more lives. The fact that he was an emperor or the fact that he was a Stoic. Because he wrote a book called Meditations. And he didn't actually even mean to write the book. The book is just his journal. And every day, well, no, I shouldn't say every day, that wasn't true. Oftentimes he would write in his journal just little reminders to himself about how to live as a Stoic. And in short, we think of a Stoic today as somebody who tries to suppress their emotions and just be cold and calculated. And when we meet someone like that, we say, oh, they're very Stoic. But he was, but the word Stoic, as in terms of the philosophy, is a bit more precise than that. It's essentially a way of learning how to master your life. It isn't to suppress your emotions, it's learning how to manage them. And by the way, it's also not suppressing your intellect, it's also learning how to manage your intellect. And it can be summed up almost as bad things in life happen, and we have to learn how to manage them anyway. And this would be actually a really good kind of almost distillation of Stoic philosophy. If you're interested, I talk a lot about it on that YouTube channel from like 2 years ago. If you met my students from 2 years ago and you asked them, what's one word that would remind you of Scanlon's class, they'd say, oh God, Stoicism. Because I talked a lot about it 2 or 3 years ago. And then you move on to something else because it's interesting. But it was actually a really neat philosophy that would have led into the pandemic. You started seeing a lot of channels popping up on YouTube with people talking about Stoicism after that. Because it essentially is boiled down to something like this. Bad things in life happen. Sometimes you can control them, sometimes you can't control them. The things that you can control, you take radical control over that. So what are the things in life that you can't control? You can't control other people's attitudes, especially other people's attitudes towards you. Like I said, are there some teachers who hate you? Yes. Is it because of something you did? No. No. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And whatever those things are in your way that are inhibiting you, yeah, we could sit there and go like, oh my gosh, why do they hate me? And you may come to an answer at the end. And then that might be a very good thing to figure out if it's something that you can fix or something that you can't fix. If you are an athlete in the class with a teacher who hates athletes, you can hide it, I suppose. You can't do anything about this person's attitude. This is a person who probably left high school and went to college and then came right back and probably just assumed that same role that they were in when they were in high school, just as an older person now. But now they're the person who's in charge. So now they have power that they never had before. And they had influence that they never had before. And everybody who didn't listen to them back then, everybody has to listen to them now, because they're at the front of the room and they control whether or not you get to graduate, or at least if you get to pass the class. And so it's a dangerous thing. This is what like I say, think about some of the people in your life. Think about teachers or family members. Imagine if they were in charge of the world, what would the world look like? You know? Really think about that. It can be a very scary thing. Think about what the world would look like if you were in charge. You might think it'd be really cool for you. How would it be for everybody else, though? Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can see nothing yet, and I can burn the world down in hours. You know, you've given just the right amount of power. And so that tells us something about ourselves. That maybe we can change, be better, maybe not. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of times, like teachers, we think that people hate us, and they really don't. You know, I keep finding out. Like I presume that when you guys walk out of here, like when you walk into a Starbucks or I don't know, whatever, and then like that wind blows down and it's supposed to stop the insects from coming in. I have this idea in my head that when you guys walk out that door, there's like one of those mystical things happening, and that you guys don't think about the class or talk about the class or have any idea, when you walk out. And then when you walk back in, all of a sudden it's like, oh, back to it, back to Stoicism. And then sometimes you find out that people, like sometimes teachers will tell me, oh, I have so-and-so in my class and they were talking about your class yesterday. I said, really? They talking about this class? Yes. Huh. I was under the impression that they hated the class, that they hated my guts. Now, you still might hate my guts, but you still also might be talking about. They're not mutually exclusive. Both of these two things can be happening. But I can't take all of that into consideration. I can look at it and say, maybe they like it, maybe they don't. Am I doing what I can to make it enjoyable, to make it accessible? And if so, well then, great. And if not, then I can fix it. But I can't do anything about the attitudes of the individuals in here. I hope that you like the class. I hope that you like me, only because that will help you learn. It isn't about anything except for that. If there's a personality that you connect with, you're going to be far more open to learning from them. If there's a personality that you just are shut off to, you can't get anything out of it. It's very difficult, you know? And so I can't control anybody else's attitude in the room. What I can control is how I respond, though, to that attitude. And that's a big part of Stoicism. It's central to that. You can't control what people think about you. You can't control what people say about you. And that's a hard thing. So what that therefore means is you can't control people, you can't control your reputation. That sucks. Because a lot of times we say things like, well, my reputation is all I have. That's not in your hands, though. Because you could do the right thing, and people will still trash talk you. You can do the wrong thing, and people will elevate you. And we see this kind of thing happen all the time. Why do bad things happen to good people? Don't demand to know why. Don't demand to know why. Because even if you know why, it won't fix the situation. Only seek to know the things and to learn the things that can fix your situation or help you improve in some way. You know, if there's a cucumber that's bitter, don't sit and go, this is terrible, and then keep eating it. Now, what's the cucumber that's in your life that's bitter that you keep eating? Is it poor sleep patterns? Is it engaging in too much chisme? Whatever it is, what's the thing that we complain about in our lives, and yet we keep doing it? You know? You see memes like this all the time. Why am I like this? Okay, maybe that's a decent question to ask. Why am I like this? And you notice that that's what's missing from here. He's saying these are all things that are outside of you. The cucumber's outside of you. You have no control over the taste of the cucumber. But you have control over whether or not you're going to eat from it. You don't have any control about whether or not there are briars in life, thorns in your life. But you have the decision not to walk through them and cut yourself up. You could go around them. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. And so the things in your life that you can control, take radical control over them. And again, those things are very limited. In fact, what you're probably going to find is that those things are limited to your attitudes and how you respond to things in life. When people hate you, what you going to do? Any of you guys, it was weird yesterday, in one of my classes, my students were talking about the homeless man on the bike over by Joanne's, that shopping center, the shopping center's over there. The McDonald's, does anybody know who I'm talking about, the homeless man on the bike? Yeah, I had never heard this dude before. And then yesterday one of my classes told me about it. And then one of my former students came in, bless you, one of my students came in after class and told me about how he almost got into a fight with the homeless man on the bicycle. Damn. I'm like, who is this man? I must learn this person. I must know who he is.
Did you fight him?
I'm gonna go study under him. What are you doing, master? He's pissing people off. He must be a philosopher. And then I asked somebody else, I was just walking in the hallway, and one of my students goes, hey, what's up, guy? I go, hey, do you know about the homeless man on the bike? And they go, oh, yeah. Did you meet him? This guy's a celebrity. But the story that the student came by after school yesterday and told me, and he's a former student, he told me that he was in his car, and he was kind of sitting there in front of Joanne's, and he was revving, and his girlfriend was with him. He was revving his car, and that the guy got mad and spit towards his car. Didn't spit on his car, just spit towards his car. Yeah, so that made him mad, so he got out of his car. And he tried to fight with the guy. Why? Because he told me he's been training boxing for a little while now, and it's fun. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So there's a couple of rules I have in life. One of them is don't fight someone who's uglier than you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do? You know, there's no upside to this. Also, don't fight a schizophrenic person. Yeah, because you're not sure how many fights you're going to have to win. You know? Don't fight homeless people. Because, my goodness, of course, it's like, well, they're pissed off. Of course they are. Well, it's their fault. Maybe, maybe not. We talked about this. Maybe it's their fault, maybe it's not. But one thing is for sure, there's going to be no upside for you, and there's just a massive downside for that person as well. It's just a big shit show, man. Don't do it. Self-defense is something different. If someone attacks you, of course, defend yourself. But what, the guy spits towards your car. What do you gain by getting out and fighting with this person? Absolutely nothing. You know. But he's trying to control something outside of himself, rather than learning how to master himself. This person was. You know. You'll come across people like that in life. Of course, he's a homeless person, but you'll come across people in your life who are going to try to piss you off. Why? Who knows, man? I went through a drive-through. I went through a Jack in the Box drive-through a few days ago.
What'd you order?
I ordered 2 tacos. It happens once in a while. I know people are like, this is terrible. That's what makes them so good. About once a year or twice a year or so, I'll just sit there and go, I want tacos, which is, by the way, a great thing in terms of being an adult. And it wasn't just any tacos, it was the Jack in the Box tacos. And my goodness, man, I thought I was going to have to roll up my sleeves and dive through the window and fight the girl in there for taco sauce.
What?
I asked for taco sauce. So, yeah, these are your people, man. Not that one, but she gave me 1. Like, dude, come on, there's 2 in there. You know? Right? And I'm like, can I get some more? The bag, I'm like turn of the century British poor. Might please have some more? And she puts 1 more in there. And she was like, I think she was just terrified of the world. She was wearing a mask, a face shield, she had gloves on, and she had rubber bands around the gloves tucked into her sleeves. And so I don't know, she was just pissed off at the world. And so I asked her, I thought, okay, Stephen, this is your fault. Maybe if you're just saying you want more, maybe you should be more specific. May I please have 2 more? He stares at me. And then finally, goes turned around, gets 2 more, and then puts them in the bag. I'm like, thank you. This is all. Why was she so angry? I don't know. I'm not sure why that cucumber was bitter. I don't know.
I just said you were about to fight the girl.
No, saying I felt like I had to get the taco sauce. That was a briar that was in my path. I could have, what's your problem? And then, bring the manager. What am I going to do? What are you going to do to this person that's going to make that society hasn't already done to them? Don't try to figure out why bad things happen to good people. Try to figure out why bad things happen to you and how you can fix it. And if it's not something that you can fix, accept it as part of your life and move through it. Any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques?